Welcome to the KUIS8 podcast. Woohoo! Once again.
Once again, we're back in
We
September.
are back.
Yeah.
Okay, very quickly, everybody, what did you do in your August holidays?
Oh, ladies first.
Oh, it was the best.
You went to the Philippines?
Yes, I ate a lot of Filipino food.
Oh.
Not having eaten it for 3 years, I was craving for everything.
Specifically, what did you have?
I had sinigang. Sinigang is my favorite Filipino dish
Oh.
that my mom... Well, most moms can make it, but I love my mom's version, of course.
Of course,
It's
yeah.
a bit of a sour and savory soup with pork or sometimes shrimp. It depends which one you want to put in it. And I saw a lot of friends, family, went to the beach, and overall just had a good time.
Ooh.
Wow.
Great.
Yeah.
How about you guys?
God, well, yeah,
After you, Derek.
Oh God, it was fantastic. God, what did I do? Oh yes, I went to. It was a last minute thing, but I went to Fuji Q. It was amazing.
Oh, that's cool.
Absolutely brilliant. I had a great time, but it was very busy. I was stuck in a queue for about 2 hours.
Oh man, was that for the ghost house?
Yes, it
Asian
was.
icon? Yeah, okay.
I've heard that ghost house is amazing.
Yes.
I've never been to Fuji Q.
I wasted my August holidays. Maybe I can go next time.
Did you go to any hill stations?
I did. I had a great time with my family. We were preparing for my cousin's wedding most of the time, and we did find an escape to a hill station, and lots of great curries and lots of great Indian food.
Sure.
Yeah.
Awesome.
How about you? Yeah.
Oh, well, I celebrated my 2-year anniversary with my girlfriend. It was great. We seem to have stumbled upon a tradition where we do something horror
Oh wow.
followed by something kind of luxurious. We went to Odaiba and we went to this horror house in Odaiba.
What?
Yeah, there's this school room, and in the school, the teacher convinced all the students to kill each other. It's crazy.
Oh my
man.
God.
And we go in and we have to figure out the puzzle, and there's lots of actors.
Is it like one of those breakout rooms?
Kind of, yeah,
Yeah,
with
okay.
actors in there, and they're trying to scare you the whole time.
Oh my goodness.
So we did that, and I got very hungry from all the crying and the screaming that I did. And so we went for a delicious meal in Odaiba.
That sounds
afterwards.
nice.
Yeah.
that was
Seems
cool.
like everybody had a very productive summer holiday. Today, now that we are back to KUIS for our fall semester.
Yeah, full
Yay!
semester. Come on!
Here we go.
We can do it.
Yes, we can.
I thought it would really help our students to see the teacher's side of the story. Meaning, we will ask you, I will ask you some questions about what you feel or what are your thoughts about teaching in Japan. Okay? Or teaching in general. And I hope the students can benefit from those opinions. All right, so let's get started. My first question to you, wise people, is what is most rewarding about teaching to you?
Oh man,
That's a deep question.
That's a good question,
Very first
yeah.
question and a very deep question.
it's straight in the deep end.
Yeah.
Pratik is just coming at us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right at the start of the term.
Oh, there's lots of things. I think.
I think something that springs to mind for me is it was my previous university that I worked at. I had one class. They were a dream come true. They were really good. So it took a long time for them. Well, it took a while for them to really get into it, to speak English. But the last maybe few months of the semester was amazing. It was really rewarding for me to see them speaking so much English, and yeah, I couldn't really hear any kind of L1 at all, any Japanese. So that was one class that were just great. They did everything I asked of them. They submitted their assignments. They were speaking English. I think all the time. Yes, all the time in the class. I couldn't hear any L1. So for me, that is rewarding
To have students speak the language, produce the language.
That's right. Yeah.
Interesting. What do you think, Mike?
Yeah, to jump on Derek's point there, that they were struggling at the beginning, right, to use the language.
Yeah.
And for me, teaching and helping your students to overcome the challenges and the struggles they have is great, and to see them grow and become more confident in themselves is what really makes me enjoy teaching. It could be, I think, maybe for a lot of teachers, not just English, could be science or maths, but when you see the students really start to develop their confidence and overcome these struggles and look back at their time in the classroom and they think, man, that was hard, but I did it, and I feel so good about like just achieving these new skills.
Yeah, when you see yourself as a part of their journey.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Exactly. We've done this epic journey together.
Definitely. Yeah, Rowie, what do you think?
It's similar to what they have been saying. It's really rewarding to see your students' progress, especially over the years. I've been teaching English for more than 10 years now, a long time.
Yeah.
So I have students who are in university, students in the Philippines who are already in university, and they call me Miss Chua in the Philippines.
Wow.
And some of them have already graduated university, and some of them get sentimental, I guess, and they would sometimes send messages and be like, Miss Chua, I still remember your reading lessons when I was in elementary, and it just makes me feel old, but it also makes me feel very happy because I guess I did something right because they remember me even after they're already in university.
You were a big part of their life.
I hope so. And to add to that, actually before summer vacation, I had a student from Miyagi, Japanese student. She went to the national speech contest when she was in junior high school and won 3rd place.
Well, good for her.
Yeah, and now she's a high school student, and I received a message saying, I didn't really want to tell you until it was final, but I reached the nationals again in the English speech contest as a high school student. And she will be competing. I'm not sure when the competition is, but I think it's online. I'm really, really excited and happy.
Yeah, you must be so proud of her.
I am so proud and so happy because it's such progress from junior high school to high school, seeing just how much she has grown to love English even more. So those kinds of things are
That's great.
And it's brought her lots of interesting experiences, right?
I hope so.
That's, I think, maybe another reason why we teach English, right? It helps students to develop these new opportunities and chances, travel, friends, competition, just expanding your life with language. It's fantastic.
Well, I agree with you, and that brings me to our next question. What was your calling? Why did you decide to become a teacher?
Ooh, nice segue.
Is that what you wanted to do always? Or is that, one fine day you woke up and you realized, I want to be a teacher today?
I'm going to be Mike Sensei.
To be honest, I still don't know what I want to do. I'm still deciding. And teaching was something that I didn't think about at all. After university, I decided to do a teaching qualification because I wanted to travel. I thought teaching English would be a great way to travel and not just go on holiday somewhere, but live somewhere for over a year, work there and work with local people. And teaching children and students is a great way to really learn about a country, I think, learn about the culture. So after my first year of teaching, I loved it. I loved the travel, loved meeting these local people, and I've been doing it for 8 years, almost as much as Rowie. Rowie's the master.
I'm surprised.
But yeah, that was it. I didn't really plan it, but I'm enjoying it right now. So I'm still doing it.
Yeah,
full of love.
Actually, the reason why I've been teaching for so long is because it's my first job and it has been my only job. I've always been a teacher. In the Philippines, when you go into university, you kind of have to be sure. Well, not sure, but your parents want to know or be aware that, okay, this is the career you want. You have to take this course, right? My parents were never strict, but being in that kind of society, I had to choose one course of action that I want to go with, and I went with education.
Interesting.
So I went with education, and I chose English as a major because I've always loved reading, always loved books. And like Mike, even after I graduated university, I loved the experience of learning about how to teach and all of the theories and all of that. But I still wanted to try other things because I wasn't sure if I wanted to be a teacher forever. But you get a degree, of course, you need to get a job next. So my first job, because my degree is education, was as a teacher. So I taught for 2 years in the Philippines. And then I tried to find another job, but I still ended up teaching in Singapore. And now here I am, still a teacher. But over the time that I've been teaching in different countries and different places, I realized that I actually do like teaching a lot. And it's something that I've grown to be very passionate about. The more I did it, the more I realized why I was put, I guess, in this career. And realized it even more when I was teaching in the countryside in Miyagi. Just because I was able to see just how much a teacher can help students' lives, because there weren't any other foreign teachers in that small town. It was just me in that school. In the other towns, of course, there were. But it was just me and my partner teacher, so they were all very excited. You know how it is when you're an ALT. They were excited. You're a foreigner. They want to talk to you in English. And after staying there for 4 years, just solidified the fact that, okay, I mean, this is where I am.
This is what
I want to do.
Yeah.
I've grown to love it, grown to enjoy it. But yes, along the way, I was not always sure, just like Mike.
Right, so we can say that, it was your parents who sort of drove you into that direction, or the societal pressure, or the educational expectations, and then your experiences helped you discover.
Solidified.
Yeah. It started with just me loving reading
Yeah.
and loving words. That's what I focused on, and that's why I chose to be an English major. But the other, everything else just influenced it. I kept with it, like you said, because of my parents, because of society, and maybe it doesn't always turn out great for everybody, but in my case, it helped me, just like I discovered along the way.
You discovered it along the way.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Derek.
Oh, well, I got a 5-hour answer for this. I need 5 hours. But no, it's kind of, it's quite similar to Mike. Yeah, it's like I came out of university, I had no idea. So I thought, because my father was very successful IT engineering, and so I thought, yes, I will try go down the business route. So yes, I got my qualification in business and marketing. And I did that for a few years, but just something was missing. It didn't really make me happy, and I need to be a happy person. It's not all about the money.
That's right.
So I kind of did some soul searching, and yes, I thought, why not teaching? But also, yes, like Mike, I love traveling, so why not be a teacher? So I tried it. I got my TEFL qualification in the UK, and then straight after booked my tickets to Japan, and the rest is history. Everything, it's been a roller coaster. So there's been ups and downs, but I'm maybe happier before I came to Japan.
Right, so the idea is to always ask yourself what makes you happy.
That's right,
Unlike you guys, I come from a family of educators and artists. So my grandfather was a principal in a school, my mother's a principal now, my auntie and one of my uncles. So I grew up watching them, seeing them, teaching students, making that change in society. So I thought, maybe I'll use education as a tool. That was my story. Anyway.
You can see the potential for being a teacher.
Absolutely, yeah. I think it's more accessible. You can see what you can do as a teacher.
Yeah, sure.
Easily.
Are you happy that you followed in your family's footsteps?
Originally, maybe I wasn't because I wanted to be a doctor.
Oh.
But then it requires a lot of hard work. No, I'm kidding. I tried studying for it, but I just couldn't go. Get into a good medical college, and that's when I decided to do some soul searching. I spoke to my parents and my friends, and the idea came from within that I like talking to people. I like explaining things. So teaching is the
Nice.
best way to go about it.
And you still get to wear a surgical mask.
And that's it.
These days. In the COVID year. Yes. We're all doctors.
Yeah.
It's great.
Absolutely. Yeah. We are doctors of education.
Ooh.
Yes.
Yeah.
That brings me to the next question. Imagine your class, and as you imagine, do you think that a perfect class exists? And if it does, how does it look like to you?
A perfect class. Oh my gosh.
I will jump on that. I think.
Well, you were talking about that class you had.
Yeah, the dream class. I'll probably go back to that because I think the perfect scenario is you have students who you respect and they respect you, and they just do everything they ask of you, and they always speaking English, and I think I think it's kind of the same response I gave earlier in the podcast, but
Okay.
I think it's
Where you can see tangible results.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Mhm.
What does Mike have to say?
Wow. There's so many different thoughts when when you ask this question. One would be a perfect class could be like Derek says, where the kids have such good energy and motivation, and they're really trying their hardest to make every activity and every opportunity the best it can be. Using English all the time, really trying to talk deeply with other students when you have topics and things, doing their best to complete activities. That's a really good class. But I also really like a challenging class. A class that maybe their motivation isn't so high and they're not sure why they're learning English, but together we managed to develop a much stronger passion and interest. And by the end of the semester or the end of the time together, they're absolutely in love with it, and they're having a great time, and they're super confident and relaxed and using the language to express themselves fully in the best way they can.
And I think it's also easy to gauge the progress your class has made.
Yeah,
in
that's
such
true.
cases.
Yeah.
When you're willing to challenge. Thank you. Rowie.
For me, I think my idea of a perfect class is a class that I can end the year or leave that class knowing that I've done my best to teach them. Like I've
Right.
done everything that I can to give them a good experience in
Yeah.
my classroom. It doesn't mean that there were no challenges, because I do like challenging classes too,
Sure.
like Mike, because I can see their growth. So over the year, if I can see how much they've changed, if they've had roadblocks but they were able to overcome said roadblocks. I encountered roadblocks but then realized that okay, I can go about it in a different way. Because I think if I see my class in that sense, my perfect class in that sense, then if I just always try my best in whatever class I'm teaching, I'd come out of it thinking, oh, this was a great class. Saying it's perfect is kind of hard because as a teacher, there's never really like the perfect scenario.
Yeah.
Something always comes up. It can be because of weather. It can be your students' like personal issues. You have 20 or more different personalities in a classroom.
Yeah, of
Achieving perfection is kind of hard, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And there's you as well to consider. There's tech issue. There's just too many things. So
Yeah.
for me, it's if I'm able to give my best for my students within the time frame that we're together, and hoping that they've actually made progress or seeing it too.
Yeah, that actually reminds me of this quote that I, on the internet, I found this quote. And, it says that it's the teacher that makes the difference, not the classroom. What are your thoughts about it?
I think it's chocolate that makes the difference.
I 100% agree.
Yes.
If students give me chocolate, that's the perfect class.
Yeah,
Right there. No, you're
Okay,
totally,
thumbs up.
you're totally right. That's totally right. I got a great example of that. When I was a bit younger, less grey hair on the sides. I was teaching in Austria and Poland. Sorry,
Wow.
different time. And we were teaching in a hotel. And it was like a kind of a holiday, a week away for the students, and we had to teach in these little kind of conference rooms in this hotel. They were not classrooms. They were just small rooms with nothing but a couple of chairs and tables. But we managed to create a really fun atmosphere with the students. And instead of sitting down and writing and studying on the tables, we just kind of cleared spaces and put on plays and did performances and got them to use English in different ways. And that's just the teacher. Like, us, the teachers together, we got together and we thought, okay, these classrooms are terrible. What can we do to make this fun for the students? And we came up with this massive talent show for the end of the week. So all the students were practicing their skills and talents throughout the week. And then we got to do it at the end. And it was great fun. They had a good time.
So you built your own version of a classroom.
Yeah, and redefined what a classroom is.
Absolutely. Yeah. What do you guys think?
That's a great idea. Yeah, I think that's a great. I think teachers have a major impact on the classroom, and I think in my latest research actually, I did factors that affect motivation of learners, and coming out on top from teachers and I think also students' perspectives was teacher approaches and behaviour was number one, yes. So it's the way the teacher behaves and the approach they take to a lesson. It can affect the emotions or motivation of a student.
Well, thank you for sharing. I think that's a very powerful concept. Rowie, please.
I of course agree with both Mike and Derek, but I want to bring it to kind of a different context because coming from the Philippines, which isn't really that rich of a country, even if I want to say the teacher makes the difference, and that's true, but sometimes the classroom does also affect like the way that a class turns out. Like imagine being a teacher during the coronavirus and not having proper internet connection, and then it's hard for teachers too. So as much as I want to say it's just the teacher, of course the where you are, I guess, what materials, what resources you have exactly also affects it. Like we can definitely say that students who have better classroom environment as compared to students who don't have the same resources would probably learn better than the others. Experience-wise, they might get like both great experiences, especially from the teacher. But like the knowledge that they would get or the training that they would get, like technology training or like just being exposed to more things if you have internet connection and whatnot, it does make a difference. So sometimes I like to remind my students, like, you have so many resources, you have to use that. Like especially here in KUIS, you have KUIS8. There's so many things that you can utilize, and not all students around the world have this. So if you are able to just actually acknowledge and see that, I think students can actually get take advantage better of their educational experience by knowing what resources they have at hand, because other students or other countries sadly don't have the same.
I agree. I think we're all very fortunate that we have these classrooms and these amazing facilities that we can use. Thank you. Now, as our listeners know that we come from different countries and we've taught in different contexts. So I'd like to ask you, how is teaching in Japanese context different from any other contexts?
What do you think, Priti?
I think.
Have you taught in other places?
I have taught in India, and now I teach in Japan. I think it's very different in terms of student participation. Sometimes I struggle with getting my... Sorry.
Mike can just...
How do you think, Pretty?
What do you think, Pretty?
I sometimes struggle with getting my students to participate in discussions, whereas in an Indian context, this would never be a challenge. And of course, there are a lot of rewarding things which I would like you guys to shed some light on.
Yeah, it's probably easy to talk about some of the challenges first with Japanese students, compared to Spanish, Saudi Arabian, Russian, Argentinian, Polish. I've taught easily 50 different nationalities in different areas. And Japanese students are always really, really respectful and kind, but also terribly shy and not prepared to answer questions in front of the whole class without some preparation. So one thing that's important is giving Japanese students a bit of a warm-up to help them feel more comfortable and relaxed, but also help them to start to feel more confident to just express their opinions as well.
And Rowie?
Again, just basing it on my experience, in the Philippines and even in Singapore, English is their second language or like one of their official languages, at least in the Philippines. So the students are already good at English. So when you teach in class, they expect a more challenging class because they feel like we know this already.
Yeah.
Like, what else are you going to teach us? But in Japan, I don't necessarily think this is a bad thing. It's actually, for me, it was interesting. I had to switch to a simpler way of delivering the lessons, a simpler approach to teaching, because not all Japanese students have been exposed to English at a very young age. Some of them only started maybe junior high school and then high school. So they're, aside from the fact that they're shy, they don't have enough experience using English in the classroom. So that's a big difference for me, because as a teacher, I have to approach teaching my classes in a different way than I was used to.
More simplified, more scaffolded way.
Exactly. And I also had to slow down. Like you said, scaffolding is very important with the students, because making a leap from one concept to another when you've been speaking English for a long time is easy for other learners, because they already have the English language knowledge. But for our Japanese students, they're still trying to grasp that.
Yeah.
So I have to help them make the connection between different ideas. And
right.
Yeah.
And Derek, do you agree with these guys?
Yes, absolutely, totally. And I think, yes, Japanese students are generally very shy, as Mike said, and I think it's very important for teachers to give them the necessary tools, like, for example, example answers to a question to really get them started. Because if you just say, okay, what do you think about this? Go. Probably silence. So it's always very important to give them the resources they need.
Right, thank you very much. The next question I have for you is, of course, as teachers, not every day is easy. I'm sure we all struggle in some way or the other in our classes. So I'd like to ask you, what do you struggle with the most when it comes to your students or class participation?
I will kick off because I've got the answer for this. Definitely L1 use. Oh dear. Yes, I'm fighting with my not literally, but fighting to try and get them speaking more English. But I think it helps if you have strict rules in place. And I think my rules were not strict enough. So maybe. Part of the blame is definitely the teacher's setup of the class. But it's a continuous battle to try and get them speaking 100% English, or even 75% English in a lesson.
I think with any class that's made up of all one language, like here we have all Japanese speakers, it's tough. It's very easy to quickly slip into Japanese when you want to make a funny joke or you want to talk about something casual with your friend, like some gossip. So I experienced that in Saudi Arabia as well with my students there, in France with French students. Everywhere when everyone speaks the same language, so easy to do it. But like you said, having good rules in place and reminding students about the benefits of using that English as much as possible can really help them.
Right,
for me, it's what I struggle to understand is why they are so hesitant to ask for help or ask questions in the classroom when it's the best place to ask it. Because I always tell them this at the beginning of the year, like, the classroom is a place for you to learn and ask questions and make mistakes. So you should ask your questions here rather than making your mistakes outside of the classroom where there are more consequences.
Right.
So I still try my best to make the classroom welcoming, try to get them comfortable to ask questions and if they need help. But yeah, it's hard because they're quite shy. Difficult to get them to just ask questions because maybe they're shy, they're hesitant because their classmates are not asking questions.
Yeah.
I think one of that actually reminds me of something that I struggle with my students is to be able to understand whether they understand.
Yeah, sure.
Because the lack of asking questions, or even that there are different ways to look at it. You could see that as them being shy, you could see them as being uninterested. Or you could see them as being, just...
Or not wanting
or
to...
not understanding anything. Or not wanting to participate.
Yeah, that's true.
So I think as teachers, if we can overcome these challenges, and of course our students, if they can help us overcome these challenges together,
please.
That'll be nice.
I had a good quote here from a teacher that I had, and he said, "The only bad or stupid question is the one you don't ask."
There you go.
And I like that.
Yeah, no question is a stupid question.
Yeah. Unless you don't ask it.
And don't be afraid.
And don't be afraid. We're here to help you.
Exactly. That's our job.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We're getting paid for it. So the next question is... Why did you do that?
That was world class.
It tickled me with that.
Okay.
I had to do my...
Dear, oh dear.
Yeah, thank you.
Leave
Thank you
that
for keeping it alive.
Blooper.
Yeah.
A lot of students, they seek admission in KUIS because they also want to become teachers one day. So would you have maybe just some motivation words for aspiring teachers who are right now doing their best to become English teachers in future? Maybe one word, or one sentence, or one suggestion.
One word, ganbatte!
Well, I was about to say persevere in English, and you're just like, ganbatte.
Yeah.
God, we're struggling with the L1 in this podcast.
I know. Struggle is real.
Or the L2.
But yeah, for me, it's persevere. Things are not going to be easy all the time.
Yeah.
Even for us, it's not easy all the time. But if you keep at it, if you keep trying, and if you also just try to keep a positive mindset, even if things go wrong, and still just persevere.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you, Mike.
My one word? Passion. Try and remember why you decided to be a teacher, and look for all the really fun things that help keep you passionate about your choice.
Absolutely. Yeah, Derek.
Go and get it.
Go and get it. Yeah, that's it.
We've only got one life, just do it.
Just do it.
As Nike said.
We're going to get copyright strike.
Oh no! Go and get it. Go and get it, because we've only got one life. And just do what you have to do.
Do what you have to do.
Just do it, yeah.
For aspiring teachers, I would say maybe observe yourself and observe your teachers. See how they overcome slight challenges every day in the classroom. And that will really help you in the future.
That's good.
One word for your students before they step into your class, now that we are in the new semester.
Chocolate.
Bring chocolates for Mike, please. Thank you.
Ready?
Be ready to face the world.
Please speak English.
One word.
English.
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 Empathy.
One word would be ganbatte. Oh, thank you, everybody. And that brings us to the end of this amazing podcast.
Woo!
Yeah.
That was cool.
I hope you can all benefit from listening to these amazing teachers. And if you see them on campus, feel free to stop them and ask them for clarification if you have any questions. And tune into the podcast next month as well. We are going to come up with a very interesting theme, by the way, for October. And for now, this is the
KUIS8 Podcast.